You're listening to From Stillness, an audiobook for a mind in need of quiet. Let's clear up a common myth right now. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's not genetic, and it's certainly not reserved for the lucky few. Mental resilience is built, deliberately, through consistent exposure to challenge, discomfort, and self-discipline. Yet most people avoid those very things. They crave comfort, chase shortcuts, and then wonder why they feel overwhelmed when life inevitably pushes back. They mistake fragility for normality, but it doesn't have to be that way. The truth is, mental strength is a skill, like learning an instrument or lifting weights. You don't start off strong, but with deliberate repetition and the right mindset, you become unbreakable. That's the difference between people who collapse at the first sign of adversity and those who rise under pressure. Not talent, not ease, but the quiet decision to keep showing up when things get hard. Building this kind of strength starts with a choice, to stop avoiding discomfort and instead lean into it. When life gets messy, when plans fall apart, or when motivation disappears, you train. You don't wait for inspiration. You don't ask for permission. You simply get to work. Mental toughness doesn't show itself when things are easy. It reveals itself in how you respond when everything feels stacked against you. And if you build that inner resolve consistently, one honest decision at a time, you'll become someone who doesn't just survive difficulty, but grows stronger because of it. Because strength, real strength, isn't loud. It's quiet, it's invisible, and it's built when no one's watching. Most people go through life asking the wrong question: why is this happening to me? But mentally strong people ask something different. What is this here to teach me? That small shift changes everything. It transforms struggle into training, pain into progress, and difficulty into development. You see, strength isn't forged in ease. It's built when things don't go your way, when you're tired, frustrated, and pushed beyond what you thought you could handle. That's the gym for your mind. Every setback, every rejection, every obstacle is part of the weight you're meant to lift. You don't grow by avoiding the heavy stuff. You grow by facing it, one rep at a time. There's power in seeing every challenge as a lesson. Life will test you with failure, disappointment, or uncertainty, not to break you, but to build you. And once you start treating those tests as a process of personal refinement, something shifts inside you. Struggles no longer feel like signs that you're off track. They become evidence that you're evolving. Just like your body strengthens through resistance, your mindset strengthens when you're forced to keep going without applause, without guarantees. Most people turn back at discomfort. But if you choose to lean in, to see struggle not as punishment but preparation, you'll develop a kind of resilience that most never touch. This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about embracing difficulty as part of the design. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for life to get easier, but instead chooses to get stronger. Because in the end, what breaks most people isn't the weight of the challenge, it's how they see it. Change the lens, and you change your life. Before you can build true mental strength, you have to stop feeding the habits that quietly destroy it. 3 behaviors in particular act like termites in the foundation of your mindset, subtle, but deeply damaging. First is complaining. It's seductive because it feels like release. But every time you complain, you reinforce powerlessness. You tell yourself, and the world, that you're not in control. Mentally strong people don't waste time blaming. They either fix the situation, or if they can't, they accept it and move forward with grace. Second, stop chasing comfort. In a world that glorifies ease, this one's hard to unlearn. But growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in discomfort, in early mornings, difficult choices, and honest conversations. Every time you step into something that stretches you, you're building resilience. And the more often you do that, the less intimidating challenge becomes. Third, drop the excuses. They sound rational. They protect your ego. But they keep you small. Blaming your past, your circumstances, or other people might feel valid, but it robs you of the only power that matters, the power to choose. Mentally strong people aren't immune to difficulty. They've just stopped giving it permission to define them. If you're serious about becoming stronger, this is where you begin. Not by doing more, but by letting go of stories, habits, and behaviors that don't serve who you're trying to become. Because sometimes the most powerful transformation isn't about what you add, it's about what you remove. Mental strength isn't built in a single grand moment. It's forged quietly in the background of ordinary days, through small acts of discipline that most people overlook. If you want to become unbreakable, you must create daily rituals that train your mind, not just your body. Start with something simple: cold showers. They're uncomfortable, yes, but that's the point. Choosing discomfort at the start of your day sends a message: I'm in control. It's not about masochism, it's about stepping willingly into challenge every single morning. Next, move your body. This isn't about chasing aesthetics, it's about energy, clarity, and momentum. A strong body sharpens the mind. Even a 20-minute walk or a short home workout can shift your entire mental state. Then, build stillness into your routine. 10 minutes of mindful breathing or quiet observation might seem small, but it rewires your nervous system. It teaches you how to stay calm when the world isn't. Finally, do something difficult, daily. Wake earlier. Have that conversation. Tackle the thing you've been avoiding. These aren't chores. They're reps for your mental muscle. Each one reminds you that you're capable of doing hard things, not someday, but today. Discipline doesn't demand perfection. It asks for consistency. Stack enough small wins, and you'll become someone who doesn't flinch in the face of pressure, not by luck, but by design. Mental strength isn't about pretending you're unaffected. It's about knowing how to respond when emotions surge. The strongest people aren't immune to fear, anger, or anxiety. They simply know how to pause, how to breathe, and how to stay centered when things feel chaotic. That pause, just a few seconds of stillness between trigger and response, is where true power lives. When you master that space, you shift from being reactive to being intentional. A rude comment no longer derails your day. Unexpected bad news doesn't send you spiraling. You learn to name your emotions instead of being consumed by them. I feel frustrated. I feel overwhelmed. Just saying the words aloud softens their grip. It's like switching on the light in a dark room. What once felt huge becomes something you can work with. This practice isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about creating space between feeling and action. It's about not letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions. When you consistently stay calm under pressure, something shifts. People trust you more. You trust yourself more. You stop fearing high-stress moments because you know you can handle them. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a skill you build. And like any skill, it requires repetition. But every time you pause instead of reacting, you're reinforcing a new way of being, one rooted in control, not chaos. So next time life throws something heavy your way, don't rush to react. Breathe. Ground yourself. And respond like the version of you that's already mentally strong. Because with practice, that version stops being a goal and starts being your reality. Failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of real growth. The strongest people you know haven't avoided failure. They've embraced it. They've failed, stumbled, lost, and kept moving. That's the difference. Most people let failure define them. Mentally strong people let it refine them. The truth is, no one achieves anything meaningful without setbacks. Whether it's an athlete missing the shot, a business owner going broke, or an artist getting rejected, failure is part of the path. It's not a detour, it's the road. And if you see it that way, it stops being something to fear and starts being something to learn from. When you fail, don't collapse into shame. Ask yourself, what did this teach me? That question turns failure into a mirror. It shows you where to improve, where you need to grow, and where your real strength lies. And when you stand back up, a little wiser, a little tougher, you've already won something most people never do: resilience. If you failed recently, that's good. That means you tried. That means you were in the arena, not sitting safely on the sidelines. The only real failure is giving up. Everything else? It's feedback. So don't run from failure. Face it. Let it teach you. Let it shape you. Because on the other side of every failure is the next version of you, stronger, clearer, and more prepared for what's next. Life will always throw curveballs, unexpected loss, failure, rejection. But what truly separates the mentally strong from the rest isn't what happens to them, it's how they respond. The strongest people don't crumble under pressure. They adapt. They stay calm. And that calm doesn't come from pretending everything's fine. It comes from an unshakable inner attitude, one built through deliberate training, not blind optimism. At the core of this strength is a mindset shift. Stop trying to control everything and start focusing on how you react to what you can't control. Life is 10% what happens and 90% how you respond. When something difficult shows up, don't spiral. Don't collapse into victim mode. Instead, take a breath. Ask yourself, what's the next move? Not why me, but what now? Reframing problems as challenges is a powerful tool. It turns you from someone who avoids obstacles into someone who leans into them. And that changes everything. Suddenly, you're no longer waiting for life to be fair. You're stepping up to meet whatever comes, head on. You'll still feel fear, frustration, and doubt. That's human. But you'll learn not to let those emotions lead. You'll respond instead of react. And that's where real power lives, not in controlling the storm, but in learning how to remain steady within it. That's what makes you unshakable. Motivation is fleeting. It's the spark that gets you started, but it's never enough to keep you going. One day it's there, the next it's gone. And if you rely on motivation alone, you'll only take action when it feels convenient, and convenience is rare when the goal is growth. The truth is, the people who build lasting strength, achieve real progress, and create extraordinary lives don't do it because they feel like it every day. They do it because they've trained themselves to act regardless of how they feel. That's discipline. Discipline is the quiet decision to show up. It's what makes you go for that early morning run when your bed feels warm. It's what gets you to sit down and do the work when distractions are begging for your attention. And it's not glamorous. No one's clapping for the tiny acts of consistency, but they matter. Because those small choices repeated daily build momentum, and momentum builds identity. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about structure. It's choosing systems over emotion. Want to get in shape? Don't just set a goal to lose weight. Build a habit of showing up at the gym 4 times a week. Want to create something meaningful? Don't wait for the perfect idea. Set aside time every day to create, even when it's messy. When motivation disappears, discipline remains. And when you have that, you don't need to feel inspired to move forward, you just do. That's where real strength comes from, not the feeling, but the follow-through. Discipline is freedom in disguise, and once you master it, you become unstoppable. Mental strength isn't something you earn by reading about it or nodding along to motivational videos. It's something you build, one decision, one action, one difficult choice at a time. Knowledge is useful, yes. But without action, it becomes dead weight. You can understand every principle, memorize every quote, and agree with every idea, but until you do something with it, nothing changes. The gap between who you are and who you want to be isn't bridged by more information. It's bridged by courage. By doing the thing you've been putting off. By choosing the uncomfortable option when it would be easier to delay. And by showing up, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. Discomfort is the doorway. You just have to walk through it. Action turns ideas into growth. And it doesn't have to be grand. It can be small, 5 minutes of movement, a cold shower, a conversation you've avoided. What matters is that it's real, that it counts, that it moves you forward. Most people wait for the right time to begin. But the truth is, there's no perfect moment. Life will always be messy, complicated, and inconvenient. If you wait for comfort, you'll be waiting forever. The strong don't wait, they act, even in uncertainty. So ask yourself, what's the one thing you've been avoiding that you know would make you stronger? Do that? Not tomorrow. Now, because strength isn't built in thought, it's built in motion. Everything you've learned so far means nothing unless you act on it. Insight without action is just entertainment. Mental strength isn't built by thinking about it. It's built by doing, consistently, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially then. The difference between who you are now and who you could become isn't some massive leap. It's a single decision, repeated daily. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest with yourself about what you want and whether you're willing to start now. Most people wait. They wait for clarity, for motivation, for the right moment, and in doing so, they lose time, momentum, and trust in themselves. But not you. Not anymore. Because you now understand that action is how you build strength, belief, and direction. One small win leads to the next. One disciplined day lays the foundation for a different future. So the question isn't whether you can become strong. It's whether you'll take that first step. Whether you'll stop waiting to be rescued and start rescuing yourself. Discipline over doubt. Effort over excuses. That's what builds the kind of mindset that can't be broken. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to rise. And it starts, not next week, not when life calms down, but right now. Pick a small step and take it. Then repeat. The rest will follow. At its core, this content delivers a clear, empowering message. Mental strength is not inherited, it's trained, built, and earned. You don't become unbreakable by avoiding difficulty, but by facing it head-on, consistently. Life will challenge you, that's a guarantee. But what sets strong individuals apart is not luck or talent, it's their willingness to show up, especially when it's hard. They understand that discomfort isn't a threat, it's a training ground. Building this mindset starts with changing your relationship to struggle. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Choose accountability over excuses. Choose discipline over fleeting motivation. Do the hard things even when no one is watching, especially then. Real transformation happens in the quiet moments, saying no to comfort, waking up early, taking the cold shower, doing the work when you don't feel like it. These small, daily choices shape your identity far more than dramatic declarations ever will. So if life feels chaotic, start by grounding yourself. Control your emotions before they control you. And remember, failure isn't the end. It's proof you're trying, growing, and evolving. Your strength lies not in perfection, but in persistence. This isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming someone who moves forward anyway. That's a mindset you can build, starting today. And once you do, no one and nothing can take it from you.